love to hear from folks about how you were first introduced to the play and why it feels relevant right now. I actually mentioned that to Caitlin before we started. Caitlin, do you want to start us off?
Sure.
Yeah, and just tell us quickly who your character is, too.
So I play Logan, who is a woke white high school theater teacher tasked with creating a Thanksgiving play for the elementary schoolers. And I decided to do a devised piece that tells like the real story of Thanksgiving, and we sort of grow from there. I mean, I think this play feels relevant to right now. For so many reasons. I think all of us are very seriously sort of considering what our place in American theater is in this moment. Those of us who come from backgrounds that maybe historically have taken up too much space, like how do we step back and allow artists who have been historically marginalized to take space? Like, how do we do that seriously? And also, how do you maintain levity in the room, right? How do you keep all the things that really, bring us to the theater as audience members and as makers? How do you keep those things alive while still sort of pushing the conversation in the direction it needs to go? Though maybe pushing isn't the right word, because maybe for us, maybe for people who look like me, the job is really to just, do less of this. But yeah, I think it's allowed me to sort of weigh some of these serious issues, like through a flexible and comical lens, which I think has felt really really grounding and stabilizing. And I have to say, I've felt so supported by this whole team, this whole community of people here. So it's been a joy, and I can't wait to see how this show continues to grow.
That's great. And you are new to City Lights as well. We were talking briefly before. So Caitlin, Sarah, and Brian, all of you, this is your first show at City Lights, and we're really excited to have you here. And that's wonderful. And Keenan, we just see you all the time. No, just kidding. Keenan, we're happy to have you back. This is it's a great group. Why don't we just have quickly, the rest of you quickly tell us who your characters are for those of us who haven't seen the show. Sarah, you want to go next?
Sure. I play Alicia, the actress from LA.
Nice. And Brian?
I play Caden, and Caden is the third grade teacher who desperately wants to be a playwright. And he is the historical expert brought in for the Thanksgiving play that Logan is trying to put together, devise. So,
but his historical expertise goes well beyond the elementary level.
It does. It goes beyond a lot of different levels, not just elementary. Some even argue sanity. But yes, that's definitely what he brings to the table.
Very nice. Hey, Keenan, namaste. Tell us about your guy.
Namaste. I play Jackson Smithton, who is Logan's actor / yoga boyfriend, who very much tries to walk the path of enlightenment through his art and teaching about composting at the farmer's market. But he lets his sort of desire to be politically correct to get in his own way of actually making a difference. Sometimes there's that fine line between being seen as a activist and then actually being an activist. And Jackson very often falls right in the middle of those two things sometimes.
Well said. Well said. Hi, Roneet. Here's our director. Caitlin was our director within a play within a play. Roneet is our director of this actual production. We're happy to have you. Hi. Well, we just got started talking about the show and why it's relevant and why it's kind of timely since it's going to premiere on Broadway next year. Tell us what drew you to the script in the first place. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I did something weird. Okay, I'm back. I'm here. Why I was drawn to this play? I think because it really challenged me. I think it's a really interesting mix of educational and comedy and political activism, and all of that felt exciting and scary at the same time. As a director, what am I going to do with that? How am I going to make that land? How am I going to make that work? And so yeah, so I think I was just drawn to the challenge, and also it's just a delightful read on the page. If you haven't seen it and you're just reading it, I mean, it just comes to life, and it was fun to bring it to life. So
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure some of you recognize Roneet because she has spent a lot of time on our stage as well. This is her.
well, that was another draw. Was working at City Lights.
Yeah. Yeah. Roneet has been in many shows at City Lights, including Merchant of Venice, Handle with Care, Frankenstein, Amadeus. I could go on and on and on. And we're excited to have you back in a different capacity. One of the things we love about City Lights is like there's always room for people to try new roles, which is great. I think the last time I was talking with Miranda, she was props designer for this show. She's stage manager. People get to play a lot of different roles at this company, which is great. Thank you, Roneet. Well, I have brought tonight some production photos that y'all haven't seen yet, so that's always kind of fun. As we talked about, the play focuses on these teaching artists trying to create a Thanksgiving play. And one thing that I find really interesting about this show is that the playwright Larissa FastHorse intersperses these different vignettes, which are like really terrible Thanksgiving shows. Are those actually brought from the internet? Like, did she create them, or are they real things that she found on the internet? I think they're real, right, Roneet?
So they are real. She did a lot of research, on Pinterest and YouTube, and went down all the rabbit holes, and came up with these. I think that each of them existed. There are also specific links that are given in the script for context as to what these vignettes are. And all of those links are real. Like, you can go and Google them and you will find stuff very similar. You won't find the exact one that the great cast performs, but you will find very similar items. But everything she found, this is all real. She found it on Pinterest. She found it on YouTube. It is a sad world out there.
Well, and here's a great example. We have seen other turkey photos before, but this one I think it's just kind of lovely because of the complete abandon. Look at you kids here. Actually, one of my favorite parts of the whole show is Sarah's portrayal of a little kid because it is so real. Sarah, tell us what is going through your little child's brain right now. Like,
oh my gosh, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the show, is doing these vignettes. It's so like healing of the child, like you just get to like be a child again. And I think it also kind of plays in with like the simplicity. It's like the simplicity of a child's mind. It's so fun to just like take a break from the script and just like do these ridiculous songs and dances. So fun.
And I love how your child is so nervous and scared and like can barely get a sound out, and it's really, really, really cute.
True to life. I was very shy as a kid, so
is that where that came from? See, I was wondering about the rehearsal process for these vignettes where you're pretending to be kids. Like, Roneet, did you just let your actors play, or did you have like serious like choreography in mind? Like, how did these scenes come together?
Yeah, Noelle Gibbs was our choreographer, and she came in for those rehearsals. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely play based. We did a little bit of talking, like, come up with a characteristic. These are the different kinds of kids, archetypes, stereotypes of children performing. And then we just let them have at it, really, and fine tune things as we went along. But I think we were playing with these characters until like pretty close to performances. We were still kind of playing and finessing who these little children were, and how they grew up over the course of all the different vignettes. So
that's fun. And a little shout out for our costume designer, Caitlin Nichols. Some pretty good stuff. As I was just showing here, Keenan's rocking that red fringe, like majorly rocking the fringe. Wait, right, Brian, you've got fringe too. Okay, Keenan or Brian, someone tell me what's going on in this scene. Keenan's
Well,
laughing too hard. Brian, it's you.
first of all, Keenan's fringe is better. I just want to call that out. So this is I think the last vignette. What's going on here is this is the high school Thanksgiving assembly where we're basically trying to do a protest of a protest that happened, to protest around a protest, and so I think we definitely interpreted the playwright's words literally. She said here, "Let the appropriation fly," and we certainly took that and ran with it. So that's what we're doing here, and we all take turns with the bullhorn, which is live, by the way. So it is a real bullhorn that you're seeing on stage every night.
It's a scene, man. It's a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, those vignettes, it's kind of nice because it lets you sort of absorb what happened in the scene before. And I think one of the actors I think Sarah, you said that it's kind of a nice break too, because you're playing this and in some of your characters, especially I would say Caitlin and Keenan, are just so like painfully earnest that it must be nice to just sort of cut loose and just
Absolutely. That's a great way to say it. Painfully earnest is absolutely
painfully
right.
earnest. Yeah, the other phrase I read down, I think it's Larissa FastHorse's phrase, performative wokeness, right? That's something that she's making a lot of fun of. Performative wokeness.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Question. Oh, I have another one. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, this one I like too. Now, I love seeing everyone's faces when I pull up a photo.
Oh.
This play is such a terrific satire of people trying to out PC each other, but it's also a really funny portrayal of the rehearsal process, especially when you have an actor / yoga guy playing a role. So it's kind of meta, right? You've got actors playing actors, and I don't remember what Brian's doing here. I think didn't Caitlin say, or Logan at that point say, let's just have a moment, let's meditate, and then Caden doesn't really know how to meditate, so he just keels over.
Yeah, he really does not.
This is a return after a lengthy meditation where you can see Logan and Jackson are really into it, and Caden, less into it.
Yeah, Caden's just trying to keep it together at this point. What had just happened before this scene was Caden got a lot of information that he did not need to know. I think this is him trying to recuperate from that, really.
And Sarah, I'm sure you can tell us exactly what Alicia is thinking right now, because it's
Absolutely
nothing.
nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Yes.
I love that for her. I want that for her.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, and it's as I said, it's kind of meta here because your actors playing actors in a rehearsal that's just kind of going terribly at certain points. Did any of you, not to name names, but did you draw on any real life experiences as actors? Like, I'm sure you've all been in a rehearsal that's gone terribly wrong. Or did you think about rehearsals that went right and you're like, let's just do the opposite of that? Like, is it weird to be an actor playing an actor? There's a 5-part question. Somebody go.
Yes. Yes to all of it. I don't typically, as an actor, pull from real life. I try not to, but this show very much
substitution method.
I don't use substitution for my own life or method or any of that stuff. But this show definitely had me like thinking back to some of my more, let's say, avant-garde performances in like college and thereabouts, where we mostly just were told to say yes, whether it was like an hour-long viewpoint session or pretending to be animals for some reason, or whatever other like Dadaist point of view that you were doing to get a grade in some class. So I was like sent back to that part of my acting life, which was sort of a fun little trip down memory lane, because it gave me, it was like, oh, how did I react to this then? versus how is my character reacting to it now. And like when you're on different sides, when you're playing a character who is so like invested in the specificity of the storytelling of what this rehearsal means and what this show can be, it's fun to play a character like Jackson who can sink his teeth into every sort of inane random piece of improv that we want to put together for the sake of like, this is going to crack the code on Thanksgiving. But for Keenan, for myself, a lot of it was sort of just like letting go of control and letting go of like just feeling it out and just constantly reminding myself that this is a comedy. And so defaulting to what's the funniest thing I can do in this moment that informs the story of what this character is telling, but also will include the audience and make the audience laugh. And also my fellow actors on stage. It's always trying to make them laugh too.
Nice.
And I feel like we as a cast have talked a lot about how, yes, perhaps the rehearsal process that we are depicting does look chaotic, but that is kind of inherent in the devising process, right? Like I think in order to be a creator of new things, you have to be willing to let things be terrible sometimes. You'll never create anything excellent if you are constantly living in this space of only wanting things to be good and not allowing them to be just what they are. So
you have to make a mess first before you can clean it up.
You gotta throw spaghetti at the wall. Yeah. When any of it can stick, you gotta.
A beautiful mess.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
I think I don't think I've ever had a rehearsal process like what was going on in the show. I think we can all co-sign that. Yeah,
that's good. That's good
no,
that you've never had that.
I for sure have.
Oh, you for sure have. Oh, okay. Well,
for sure.
Okay. So then okay, I guess it's just me then. But that being said, there was Caden was the challenge for me with Caden was to actually make him not me, because there's a lot about Caden that aligns with who I am as a real person. Like the sharing random facts that seem like a tangent in conversation. I think everybody in this room said I've had at least 5 of those in the rehearsal process. And I was also a school teacher in another life. So like where I dealt with elementary school. So there was definitely a lot of things that were parallel to the characters. So for me, I think this was a great opportunity to not get in my head about it, which is something I tend to do when I do a role, is I tend to get very stuck in my head about it. This was just to make it all physical and just kind of be there and find the opportunities for comedy when they came up.
Sounds good. Sarah, you want to add any of this?
Yeah, I mean, I love Alicia for a lot of reasons. I mean, I am also ambitious. I do also want to do more acting. So it lines up. And I think it's very interesting how she's like the actress that comes in and she's not even trying necessarily to be woke or to contribute to the conversation. She just kind of jumps in. I love how she just jumps into the improv. She's like, okay, let's just try her. She jumps into the scripts. She's just there to be an actress and to push it along. And I think it ends up being really fun for her.
Yeah, she does seem, even though she doesn't come in as like super, woke like the others, she just kind of does seem game for anything. She's like, well, let's try it. Because improv, Logan, is a world of yes, right? Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines. We call improv a world of yes. Nice. And another challenge too is the 4 of you, you're on stage almost all the time, except for running off and on. I mean, that's a little bit exhausting. And you have to have a lot of, Keenan was mentioning cracking up your fellow actors. You have to really be aware of everyone else, and you have to really trust each other, because you were there like all the time. Is that something you thought about during the rehearsal process, Roneet, that like you've got to, these 4 folks have got to really build trust, even if they hadn't worked together before?
Well, I think I got lucky. I mean, all of these people are really wonderful human beings, and they really found a way to really bond. I don't know, maybe maybe it was like our table work discussions. I mean, we got pretty deep from the very beginning. I also tend to be a pretty heady actor. So you got all 5 of us in the room with Knox and Miranda, and we're all like digging deep on all of this stuff. And then we're like, okay, but also it's a comedy, guys. So I think, I don't know. I think we started out from a place of like getting deep with each other, and maybe that kind of helped sort of launch the relationships. But it sounds like everybody is the best of friends. I think Caitlin was telling me today that you have several events on the calendar where you are all just going to hang out together. And that is wonderful. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Yeah, they've all really bonded and become really close friends. And I think that's a testament to just how wonderful all of these people are, and how lucky I was to have them all walk into my audition room. So.
Well, that's so nice. Keenan, you look like you wanted to say something before Roneet was talking.
Yeah, no, we're all friends. No, it's great. No, it is truly nice to know that you know, we do a little circle before each show.
I was going to talk about that too.
Where
you're bringing it up.
I am bringing it up. I'm sorry, but
Go for it.
I won't tell them what we say in the circle. That's strictly for the 4 of us. But we do just a quick little check-in, and it started during Tech Week because Tech Week was just, it was Tech Week. But we've kept doing it, and it's a nice feeling to know that you are 100% trusted on stage, and that's a two-way street. Like, I know that if I get into some weird thing with like my lines or blocking or even something different, like whatever it could be, I know that like Caitlin, Sarah, Ryan, Miranda, and our fearless assistant stage manager Knox, who's not here tonight, but they wish they were. I know that they all have my back, and vice versa. And so doing that like little check-in, like we squeeze hands and we say some sort of affirmative thing, it's very grounding. And in a show like this, where it's really easy to get sort of lost in the pace and the comedy and the sort of depth of the characters.
Yeah, I want to echo that. It is a very grounding moment going on, because to what you were saying earlier, we are pretty much on stage the entire time. Minus, I think Keenan and I have maybe a 5 to 7 minute break in the show, but other than that, everyone's on stage the entire time pretty much. And that can be kind of anxiety inducing, to have to worry about sustaining that energy on stage. Or if you're just like me and one of your worst fears is having to go to the bathroom while you're in the middle of a show, like that's a legit honest fear. And that is like the things that we have to be open and share backstage. So, and I'm sorry if that is too much information, but I'm just saying, like, that is the level of trust that we have built throughout this process. And if someone else were to walk in us, they would just be so confused, because we are all doing this in those Indian costumes at the beginning, right before we're going.
With our little headdresses and everything.
With the little headdresses.
Yeah. But it's good. It's a moment I look for, aside from performing, it's one of the moments I look forward to most, especially like coming off of a 3-day break, or especially last week with missing a show for Thanksgiving. Like having that check-in on Friday felt really nice, because it was like, oh wow, what a crazy couple of months rehearsal this has been, and now we're finally on our own, we're finally open, but we took a couple days off, now we're here. It's great to have that accountability with everyone. Like, with City Lights and Lisa always talk about like empathy on stage, like empathy between the performers and the audience, but there is that other side of it between the actors, and you can see the reflection of a really good show based in how all of the actors interact with each other, both on and off stage. And I think part of what's made this show so fun for audiences and so fun to just be in is because we all are all genuinely having a very good time. Like, we show up at 7 and we're immediately like there, and we're present, and we're doing the bits, and we're having fun, and we're making core memories,
Yeah.
and then we do the show after all that. It's great. I wouldn't want to do this with another cast in a million years, not to get all sappy about it, but yeah,
It's okay. You got 2 weekends left still. It's not over yet.
yeah.
Well, actually, the next photo I have is sort of perfect for that because it's really sweet. Aw, look at these guys. Look at these two. They're so sweet. I love this. I feel like Larissa FastHorse also had a lot of fun creating your two characters, especially that opening scene where you're both just like living in the positive and like here's a recycled glass jar and it's just it's really sweet. I want to know if you, Keenan or Caitlin, you have any either favorite lines from that first scene where you're coming and you're kind of like outwoking each other. Do you have any favorite ones?
I mean, what immediately comes to top of mind is the cheese bit, obviously, because that is just,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin.
I know.
It's
There's so
it's
much.
I've yeah, the cheese bit is great because it really sets up the foundation of this relationship. Like we support each other, and it's most definitely not the first time I've said I'm a vegan ally, but also and yeah, like that's one of those nice moments where you can sort of tell if the audience is listening or not because that's a really quick joke. And sometimes we'll get sort of like a moment later, people will laugh because they just made the connection.
Hmm.
Another one I really like, which is sort of similar, is when I'm telling Logan about like, well, you can't reach new lands unless you leave the shore. And then the line continues for like
That line just goes on and on and on.
yeah, 3 more paragraphs. And the way you, Caitlin, so earnestly say exactly at the end of it, and the audience every night has been like, what? Wait, what did they? Who are these people? But you always come in so hot and so like ready with like, yes, the perfect advice. I couldn't have said it better myself. It really sets up the dynamic of like, oh, these people talk in circles.
These people
all the
are
time.
not listening to each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know why? It's because you're one of the most self-aware people he knows. That's why.
Easily.
Him.
Yeah, easily,
Right.
easily. Top 3, self-aware.
Love it. There's also another part. I've seen this show before and I've always thought this is one of my favorite scenes when these two bond because they seem so different at the beginning and then they have this great scene together where Alicia's kind of trying to teach Logan how to live in a different way or like look at life in a different way. Logan seems so sure of what she wants, but then she gets this sort of life lesson from Alicia, and it's really cool. And the two of them bond. I love this moment in the play. And and then there's the hair flip. Alicia teaches her how to hair flip, and it's so wonderful. Both of you, I'd love to hear a little bit about working on this scene, what this was like, because it's a little bit more serious than the play sort of slows down and the two of you talk and try to experience something together. Tell me a little bit about working on this scene. Sarah, you want to go first?
Sure. I really love this scene. Fun fact, it's actually a scene that I assistant directed, just this scene when I was in college, because my professor had asked me to. So I had like a little bit of exposure to it, but that actually made me really nervous to do the scene because I was like, but how will I do it, And what I like about this scene is that the connection feels really real, I think, because I feel like in a way, like, yes, I'm being Alicia and I'm saying this stuff to Logan, but I'm also listening to Alicia as Sarah being like, this is good stuff, I should take it in. And I think just like both Logan and Alicia, that connection moment, like there's not much like it in the show.
Yeah, it's a moment where the show goes deeper than I expected it to. It's a really nice connection between the two.
And I don't know that Alicia is trying to teach Logan anything. I think that Logan comes in, really thinking that she is going to, enlighten Alicia about like the proper way to be an actor and the proper way to exist in the industry. And Alicia just is so steadfast in her simplicity that she can't really be swayed by this like kind of crazy, nonsensical, woke jargon, right?
Yeah, she just is.
Yeah,
She's-
and I think a lot. I think a lot in terms of power dynamics as an actor and in life, and like this feels like a real moment. It's a real radical shift in the play, right? Where like I think Logan has very much felt like she has viewed herself as sort of the person at the helm, the person making the decisions, the smartest person in the room, and then for her to suddenly be like, oh, just because this person isn't talking a bunch doesn't necessarily mean, or just because this person isn't expressing her ideas the way that I think she should, that doesn't mean she doesn't have a lot of meaningful things to contribute. So I think it's a real moment, like in like woke activism spaces, people will talk about like step up, step back, and it feels like a real moment for Logan to step back and be like, maybe I do need to talk a little less and listen a little more.
Yeah, because from the beginning, she's saying, I can really be a mentor to her. And at that point, she's, talking less.
But then she like kind of misses the point entirely, right? And flips it and is like, no, she's here to mentor us. And it's like, maybe nobody's here to mentor anybody. Like maybe there's no guru. Like maybe we're all the guru, you know? Yeah, but I digress.
Yes, Anne. I love it. If anyone else has other questions, I have a few more, as I always do, but feel free, type questions into the chat, raise your hand, any of those things, anyone who's watching. And those of you who are watching in the future on YouTube, sorry, this is over now. This isn't really happening at the same time that you're watching. So sorry. I just cracked Anne up. That's good stuff, Caitlin. I love hearing that. Miranda, I know you didn't. Nobody expected me to call in the stage manager. Hi, Miranda.
Hello.
We're so happy to have you stage managing.
Thank
Those of you
you.
who watched the next stage before, you've probably seen Miranda. She is also a regular props designer. We had her on once cooking up a props feast, which was so awesome and still one of my favorite broadcasts.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We're all just walking each other home. Wait, oh, good. There's a whole conversation in here that I missed in the chat. The guru is all of us. We're all just walking each other home. Yes.
Yeah.
Before I go on, Miranda, do you want to say anything at all about the experience of stage managing this show? Because I'm sure it's had its challenges and excitements.
What's interesting about the script too, there's not a lot of stage directions or like how people are supposed to feel when they speak these lines, which I found interesting. And hats off to everybody, figuring that out, because I thought that was interesting. Like there's no like pauses, there's nothing in there really. And I thought that was very interesting. I haven't seen a script like that in a long time. Or a show I've worked on, but it's like they exit or they improv, but there's not like really too much, in there of what they're supposed to be thinking or what doing at this moment. So, but everybody figured it out and it's been a lot of fun. The show moves by very quickly for me. It's an hour 30, but it just speeds along and it's really fun to watch every night. I never get bored. I'm having a great time up there in the booth, and I've got Knox, our ASM, backstage, and I don't have to worry about them at all. Like it's, they've got it covered. It's wonderful. We've heard some strange noises, like what was that, or things that happen, and kind of trying to figure that out.
And just for everyone, you're talking about Knox, our assistant stage manager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Knox.
Yes. But it's been, I think the biggest challenge was like figuring out the transitions and how to make those easy, especially with the vignettes and the costumes and stuff. And but I think it's going, we've ironed out pretty much all the kinks now and it's going well. So I love watching the vignettes too. They're just wild. When I first read the script, I was like, I don't know what to make of this. And then I kind of clicked in. Well, we read it a long time ago, in our play reading group. So figuring that out.
2019, I think we read it.
I think it was a long time ago. Yeah. And I was like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And yeah, Carol, we had, it's good to hear it and see it on stage finally, but it's been a lot of fun and we're halfway through the run. So it's been good.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. Some other theater companies have done the vignettes as videos. Sometimes there's video worked in and we have them live. I like them better live. I think it's just, it makes it more complicated for the costume changes and stuff. But yeah, it's just, they're fun to watch. Yeah, Roneet, was it a challenge for you, not what Miranda was saying about the stage direction and the script, like not having as much, or was it just sort of freeing as a director?
I didn't really notice.
So was
Yeah,
it?
it's really interesting that Miranda brings that up because I'm actually reading a script right now that I did notice, oh, it really doesn't have a whole lot of stage direction in it. And I think we definitely ran into some points that we were like, so what's going on here, right? And we definitely had those kinds of conversations. Like we had to kind of suss out what the tone was in certain places and different things like that. But yeah, it's pretty freeing, and also it's just like pretty well written. Like you can pick it up off the page very easily, and that's a testament to Larissa's writing. So
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
also like Ronnie and Noelle really took those moments and built something kind of incredible with them. Like you mentioned that like it'll just say like they improv. So like
Right.
all those like long beats of like physical comedy with no dialogue, like all of that, came sort of through from a combination of Ronita and Noelle like sussing things out.
They
And
worked really hard on it, and it was just that they improv or more mime and scene. Like that's it. I mean, that's all that's in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
yeah.
or
Crazy.
physical comedy bits, like the iconic, sacrament moment with
Yes.
Menendez.
So good. So
I mean,
good.
like, you know what I mean? There's so many things in there that like they feel so organic to the piece.
Yeah, letting me loudly eat and drink for like 5 minutes straight.
Right. I
It's
don't
great.
see how this character would work without that.
No, yeah, it's core to my process
Really
My
every
favorite
single night.
moment.
If I don't
My
get a good
favorite moment.
meal halfway through scene 4, I can't do the rest of the show.
all tuckered out. Make a meal of it,
Yeah, always.
Awesome. Well, I've got one more photo, and this is one that I have not used for marketing purposes, and you will see why in just a second.
Oh, yep. There that is.
So, so who wants to
It's a
talk about
great photo. Oh my
It's a
god.
great photo, but Bernie's cracking up. Okay, I want to know two things. Well, first of all, I love how you can see the hands at the bottom of the photo where Logan is completely losing her SHIT over all this. What is happening? Sarah's got this great kind of like high school cheerleading pose going, and I don't know what Keenan's doing. Brian, what is happening right now at this precise
What is happening?
what is happening?
This is, oh boy. So this is kind of where Caden is given a little bit more latitude to influence the process and comes up with this post-battle scene that is supposedly based on historical accuracy. I don't know if they ever tossed around the heads, but that's what's going on, and it just devolves into a Charlie Brown-esque football game moment that's going on stage. And I love that at one point, I don't remember when it happened, Sarah, but one point we started working in we into the tosses of the heads, and I'm now doing it with her because it's so ridiculous. We're going yeah, it's just, this is one of the most outlandish moments that happens in the show, and thankfully it has gotten a hearty laugh every time we have done it, because this runs the risk of not creating that kind of response. So
Yeah, it's a moment in which the characters truly devolve. I think we
Yes.
let go of all of our wokeness for a single moment and end up having a really fun time doing something that is so just disgustingly inappropriate. Like right before this moment, I was gonna kick one as Alicia holds it. It's that great Charlie Brown bit where he's gonna run at the football and Lucy pulls it away, and that's why I'm on the ground, because I missed it. And it's
Oh, right.
yeah. Yeah, and it's just a great physical example of the performative side of these characters, or we can sit and talk in circles about how much we empathize with the Native American experience and how much we want to fix Thanksgiving, and then when push comes to shove, Caden wrote a really fun scene with just a little bit of like light genocide in it, and it's fine. And we end up having a super fun time doing it until Caitlin or Logan brings us back to reality, and then we all pout about it. But it's such a great example of just how far the thought process goes for these characters before they just circle all the way back into being the children that these vignettes like mock. It's a close moment where our reality of the characters matches up with that of the 6-year-olds, singing about the 9 days of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
At least that's always been my interpretation of it, and that's sort of what I've given what I tell myself to allow myself to tell a very genuine story without getting bogged down in the gruesomeness of it. But
it definitely is a rehearsal that goes wrong kind of moment. It's almost like they I don't know, the pressure of the rehearsal process getting to them, or they just kind of let loose. It's it's hard to explain out of context, and you can see why I did not use that photo. It's
a good reveal. It's a good reveal. It's late in the show. You want people to
I just something what we talk about at the end of the night too is also like, oh, Caden really lost it tonight. We say that, or like we measure it and see like, did he really, like, oh yeah, like we say, oh, he had it tonight or something like that. And then we also say like, if Logan and Jackson break up, we're like, I think they broke up tonight, or and then next, I think they're gonna be okay. We have that kind of thing where we measure.
It's a 50-50. It's a 50-50.
Yeah. About. Yeah.
They break up.
They're pretty sure.
Yeah, they break up, but it's a matter of like when and who initiates and how soon is it. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, oh, maybe they stay together for like a full week. Other nights it's like, no, she left him there.
They walk out of the room.
They walked out to the car together, and she locked him out of the car, and now Jackson's in the parking lot.
And I've been jokingly saying when we're doing fight calls that what this play needs, if we were to be bold enough to say it needs anything, is a John Hughes epilogue of what happened to each of these characters.
Nice.
Like a rolling wall of text.
Because I think we know what happens to them. I think with Kate and with Alicia, I think we worked out, Sarah, that Alicia's not this huge star, and Caden's like writing
for dramaturg.
Yeah. She's one show away from being in a James Cameron movie.
There you go.
Like,
I hope Caden's still a dramaturg. That's a great moment when he gets the dramaturg credit.
I mean, it is the holy grail of American theater titles.
It is the holy grail of American theater. I love that moment. I love that you all have spent time thinking about what happens to the characters after the show, because we as audience members think of that. It never occurs to me that the actors are like, did they break up?
I forgot we had talked about the epilogue too. Everyone comes out.
Yeah. Maybe they don't. Who knows?
Maybe they don't. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it depends on the night, right?
It depends on how the board of directors of this school appreciates Logan's idea about what Thanksgiving means at the very end of the show.
Yeah, and also what those 300 parents think. The one,
But I like the montage post-show of Jackson very somberly doing an improv piece at a farmer's market, just thinking about, I'm going to win her back. I'm going to buy all of the recycled glass jars I can, and I'm going to win her back.
She would probably fall for it.
Probably. I'm going to get her a really nice yoga mat.
Yeah.
Oh, and I hope it's recycled. Yeah.
Yeah, it's built together from the abandoned floor mats of old Hummer vans.
There you go. You should have it be a sign.
The tools of oppression into something peaceful.
Truly.
I just got this moment of like, it's you as like John Cusack and saying anything, and you're just like out her window, like
with a yoga mat,
holding up over
holding a yoga mat, and I'm singing the 9 Days of Thanksgiving song. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, so my other question is now what about, Caden's kind of interested in Alicia. Do they ever go out? Because I have thoughts on that, but I want to know. You haven't thought about this?
What are your thoughts? I want to know your thoughts.
I have thoughts too, but I actually am really curious what Sarah has to say.
What I have to say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with no, but now I really want to know what you guys have to say.
Okay, well, wait, Becky, what do you think?
So my thought is that it's like the end of the movie The Graduate because they ride off together on a bus, literally on a bus, but it's really awkward. Is anybody getting my reference? They haven't seen
Yeah, I
it.
know. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I'm getting a reference.
Definitely,
I'm here
yeah.
for you.
That's what I'm picturing. They go off together on a bus.
Yeah.
Wow, crickets, man.
No, it
I-
feels. Sorry.
No,
You go, Brian. It's your relationship. Don't.
I mean, to me, the text does say that Alicia does certainly cling to people who are useful to her. There is an implication of that. So if Caden is going to be useful to Alicia, then I think there is possibility that there is something happens. But it's one of those things where I think Caden is like in love and Alicia is like, yeah, he's fine, you know, kind of a thing.
It reminds me a bit of the relationship between Kate Winslet and the sort of jock kid from Breakfast Club, where they have that kind of like, are they going to end up together? Oh, they had like a sweet. He saw her for who she really is, and they don't really end up together. You know the movie The Breakfast Club, right?
Yeah, but Kate Winslet?
Isn't Kate Winslet in that? Yeah.
No.
Molly
Molly
Ringwald.
Ringwald.
Molly Ring, the other
Or
Kate
is it-
Winslet.
No,
Yeah.
but the jock didn't end up with. Okay,
The
we're
jock
just gonna
ends
get
up
all
No, it was Ali Sheedy.
Ali Sheedy.
Ali
Sheedy.
I'm like,
Jock ends up
come
with Ali
on.
Sheedy and
I'll
Molly
see you guys
Ringwald.
on Thursday. Have a great rest of the night.
Tech. He literally left.
Does anybody have any questions about the show, or do we want to talk 80s and 90s
Breakfast Club.
movies, which I am completely okay with, by the way. We talked about Say Anything. We talked about Breakfast Club.
I thought maybe you're going with the holiday, Keenan. Like I thought you're with Kate Winslet, romantic. That's where my mind went.
That's
'Cause
a
I-
good film.
Well,
That's a great film.
in
But
a way,
film.
kind
Yes.
of actually, because the Jack Black character is dating an actress in that.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
if there
right.
is a dynamic there is somewhat of a similarity, I think.
the emotional vulnerability between Jack Black and Kate Winslet in The Holiday is feels very reminiscent to our current state of affairs right now, where it's
I
not
don't
maybe.
even know what we're talking about anymore.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Brittany's just shaking her head. Brittany, is this what rehearsals were like? Just kidding.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you now see how the sausage was made.
And the sausage was chaos.
And the sausage. But seriously, like I this like completely illustrates what Roneet was saying about all the four of you getting along, that we've gone off on this tangent. Everybody's having a great time. Like I kind of wish I could have sat in on one of those rehearsals. And that's the beauty of this, right? I mean, how many times have you walked away from a show and you're like, okay, that was good. It was a good show. But you don't always walk away thinking, I'm going to really miss those people. And I'm going to miss the way we were together in this show. You know, it's
Somebody
just,
said that like they'll go for a role and then it'll be okay, but you have to hire my 3 friends. I think someone said that.
Yeah,
I
we
can't
were
remember. Package
fantastic
deal.
ourselves in other small shows like a couple days ago. Like
We were
what the
trying
hell?
to go through a list of 4 people plays that we could
Yeah,
pick
that we all.
Oh,
need
that's
to do.
right. Yeah.
to do.
We're like
together.
starting a company. It's happening.
okay. God of Carnage. Who wants to barf?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
For people. That's right.
Yeah. God of Carnage.
God of Carnage, but it's 2 same-sex couples. Brian.
That works.
I'm game.
Interesting take.
All right, let's.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah.
Why is Lisa not on this call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll-
All right. Anybody else have any other questions for our wonderful artists? We have folks here who are pretty quiet on the line, and that is okay. You don't have to show your faces because we show all of ours. Yay, that should be the tagline. Well, we're nearing the end of the hour anyway. As we wrap up, our wonderful artists, would you like to say anything else about the show? And please make one of the things that you say be we run through December 18th. So please tell everyone you know.
Yeah, we run through December 18th. And please tell every single person you know. We found out from Wendy, our front of house manager, that one of the largest marketing points for this show has been word of mouth. So it's very nice to tell the audiences that at the end of the night and have it feel like it's actually rippling through our community.
Very nice.
I have something to say.
Bring it, Kate.
You can continue, Keenan. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
I think that in many ways, when I started this process, I was like a little bit emotionally, like I'm remembering that day that we spent with Arcadia where we did like some intimacy work. And we were challenged to talk about like ways that we were like our character and ways we were different from our character. And I just remember like feeling so safe to be vulnerable with everyone who has worked on this process. And so I think like this play has really changed me for the better. Like I just it's been a long time since I felt so safe and so respected and yeah, free to make mistakes and free to try new things, and like yeah, like the company will support me and kind of hold me in that space and allow me to grow. So yeah, like I think like the reason we're able to dig into the comedy and like pull it out so hard is because like we all, yeah, I mean, as we said at the top of the call, like we all just like trust each other so much, and that's been really hard. That trust has been really hard earned. And I just feel so grateful to have been a part of this process. And yes, we run through December 18th.
I have something I was going to say
please
too.
Come, please tell all your friends. Yeah.
I was going to say something as well, but Sarah, did you want to say something? I don't want to. No. Okay. Cool. Not to like put you on the spotlight or anything. Just asking. I agree. This was a challenging rehearsal process in the best way possible. And I'm grateful that we were all bonding together, that we have that trust that we've built. And if you are watching this at home and you haven't seen the show yet, this is like a droplet of what the show is like. So please do go see the show. We do run through December 18th. Please do tell all your friends. But before I finish, I also wanted to give a big thank you to Roneet, because yeah, you did assemble the team together, and also your fierce devotion to making sure it worked. Everything worked. And when we were struggling, you had a solution for us. And I think you drew on your experience as an actor to help us with that, you know? So you deserve a lot of credit for everything that has been brought together for this.
All right, Sarah, I'm putting you on the spot. Sarah, you want to say anything to take us out? Because I don't have any problems putting people on the spot, clearly.
Yeah, no, I will say one of my favorite things to say, no one regrets laughing. So for all the laughs, this show has been amazing. And if you want to laugh, you should come see it, because laughing is so fun and healing, and everyone should do it.
My favorite Larissa quote is about laughter. She says, I'm going to butcher it, but she says that laughter gives you more time. Like literally laughing gives you more life, because it like adds to your life. So by giving you this play, she is giving everyone more time through laughter, and then asks you to use that time to change the world. And she says, you're welcome, American theater.
Nice. Well said. Thank you, Roneet.
So when are we all buying Broadway tickets to go see it?
Yeah, trip to New York.
Yeah.
Trip to New York. I love it.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see how this show plays to like the global audience of a Broadway house.
Yeah.
Because we've had such a great response from our own community, and that's always great. But man, oh man, I can only imagine the conversations in the lobby of Broadway, New York City after a show like this, especially with New York and its own history of acknowledging different Native American tribes throughout history and what that means to be the first Native playwright. So yeah, I'm getting my tickets immediately, and I expect to see every single person, camera on and off, in this chat tonight there with me. Ball's in your court.
And I can't top that. So I think I'm going to say goodnight. Jeff in the chat, Jeff says, thank you for a great show. Thank you for being here, Jeff. Carol says, sign me up. All right, Carol, you're signed up. Thank you all for being here tonight. This was so much fun. Just a little taste of how much fun the show is. We will be back early next year talking about our next show, which is the musical Miss You Like Hell. We are co-producing it with Teatro Vision, and we are super, super excited to have a run both at City Lights and at the Mexican Heritage Plaza. So big things coming up. Until then, everyone have a great rest of your night. So glad you could be here, and see you soon at the theater. Good night.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.